Hi, everyone, and welcome to Dragon Quest Slime Time, a Dragon's Den podcast. This is your host, Liam. Joining me today are Big Shark Gaming brothers, Joe and Jay. Welcome.
Hello.
Hello.
So about a month or so ago, we got some sad news that our beloved Dragon Quest mobile game, KeshiKeshi, was getting KeshiKeshi. So we want to put this episode together as a tribute to the game we put so many hours into playing these past 2 years.
Additionally, we wanted to give a shout out to Hirunoushi, who could not be with us today. Hiru worked diligently, translating all the events for us to enjoy and helped us to figure out the nuances of the damage mechanics along the way.
That's right. He posted everything to the Dragon's Den Discord and even wrote up guides that covered off on the main story and all the unlockables. His efforts did not go unnoticed or unappreciated.
Too bad Hero couldn't join us this recording. We had a bit of a scheduling conflict, including me being stuck in Tokyo for a couple of days on with a flight issue because of that Microsoft what was it, crowdsource?
CloudStrife.
CloudStrife, yeah. CloudStrife, what? I just agreed to whatever he said. Yes, of course, the CloudStrife thing. All right, so remembering KeshiKeshi, what are your thoughts on the game sunsetting? What were your thoughts when you first started? Joe, how about you?
I saw in conjunction with Dragon Quest Champions, which obviously I have a soft spot for both those games, as those are two of my appearances on Slime Time. But I was and wasn't surprised about it getting sunsetted. After a year of it not coming west, I was like, okay, maybe this game just isn't doing so well. And then after 2 years of it not coming west, you're just like, well, yep, this game is definitely not doing as they planned in Japan, which is surprising because it's a mom game, and who doesn't love mom games?
To be honest, I was a little surprised. I wasn't as thrown off about the whole not coming west thing because look at Stars. It was not coming west for 8 years. It came west, it shut down, and it's still going strong in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like Champions, yeah, they gave it a shot. It didn't really work out. Keshi was going relatively strong. They started making original content. So I honestly felt like the shutdown was a little out of the blue.
Yeah, that's strange. I wonder if it was just they weren't monetizing it like they wanted to, or they just redirected the funds elsewhere because they had larger projects looming.
I kind of remember Square saying not too long ago that they wanted to focus more on AAA stuff.
Yeah, I do remember seeing that.
Move away from those smaller projects. So I wonder if Keshi got caught up in that.
Yeah, that's most likely. I mean, it's sad, but based on all the time I put into it daily, it sort of feels like it was time to say goodbye. It's been 2.5 years. I've been checking in almost every day to get those daily bonuses and such, and putting maybe 20 to 30 minutes on average. And I'll always have the memories, the screenshots, and the videos of playing it, but I'm also happy to have the time back for other games. It's engaging, but just remembering at times it was also frustrating, like the tombola results, the pencil game, the insanely difficult bonus maps, and just remembering all that crap just helps to mourn the loss of the game.
Where were you in life when you started playing 2.5 years ago?
So as we talked about in our pre-show banter, I recently moved out of the city. I got my own apartment upstate now, and I love it. It's great. I feel so independent. Plus, I have my brother right across the porch if anything goes on fire.
Yeah, I remember you saying that you guys are living across the backyard from one another now.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's front and backyard. We have a porch that separates us. So our front door is on the left side of the porch. His front is on the right side of the porch. So it's
still close enough to throw a snowball.
Yeah.
Oh, he'll get hit by a snowball this winter. Don't worry. If we get snow, we haven't been getting snow, but.
So which one of you is older?
Me.
Joe.
Okay, Joe. So do you tell Jay to, instead of go to your room, go to your house?
I have kicked.
You guys are fighting?
Yeah,
go to your house.
There's been times where I've just been like, dude, it's 10:30. I'm old. I need to go to sleep. Go home.
And you can't really take offense to that anymore, right? At this age?
No, not really. It's just he's old.
There's just some days where I'm just I work so early the next day and I just have no ambition, and Jay works overnight, so he's bright and bushy tailed as I'm dead. Yeah. So it's all right, man, I'm gonna go eat, go to sleep, and I'll see you another day.
Let yourself out. Well, where was I in life when I started playing? I started playing in December 2021 when I was in quarantine for being on a plane where someone later tested positive for COVID. I was flying from New York to Japan for the holidays. I was okay, but one of the things that I did while I was locked in the hotel room in Shizuoka, besides play like a ton of games and watch a bunch of movies, was record our first KeshiKeshi episode that we did back. That was right when I first started playing, so I had no idea what I was doing. One of my memories is that I was stuck in a hotel when I first started playing. Joe, how about you?
I remember you being in hotel hell. I remember like we would like randomly hear like the announcements over the PA systems when we were recording. I was at work and I got the notification because I had signed up for like the Japanese beta, and I had gotten a notice that I was accepted for the Japanese beta and got right into it. But I remember being at work and like being like, we had a limit to how many people could be in the store, and that included staff. So it was like 10 people were allowed in, but we had like a 5-person staff. So it was really 5 people in. It was crazy times. And living in New York during the pandemic was like a lot. So we got a chance to sit there and fill our time with KeshiKeshi and playing this new game. And it was a puzzle game, so I was super excited to like get into it because I played a lot of Puzzles and Dragons, and I was like, dang, this is like Bejeweled plus Puzzles and Dragons, but a step back, and it's a little bit simpler. So it was a lot of fun just to fill the void, just have a game to play.
Yeah. I tried I tried a random puzzle game, trying to see if it would fill the void after this one's gone, and it didn't. It was just one of those junk games where they try to tack on a bunch of other like card elements, and it just wasn't fun. So
they have the new Monster Hunter one that might help with a lot of people.
Oh yeah, Monster Hunter Islands, I think it's called.
Oh yeah,
Monster Hunter Puzzles. I don't know what it's called. I played for like 30 seconds and I just didn't enjoy the fact that it's a puzzle game that has to be played in landscape.
Yeah,
it just feels weird that it's not in portrait.
Well, also we were actually just talking before the recorder. I was looking on the Den Discord, and somebody from the modding Discord actually got all of the files for the game. So basically, for I guess decompiling purposes, or just pulling the assets off and having access to all the map information. Do you guys think there's any possible chance that someone could host a fan server for it? Not necessarily the events, but like just the basic game.
Yeah, I think that's possible.
It's definitely possible. The question is there enough demand to get it like put together in a playable state?
Yeah.
And it would also be really hard to get it on anything that's not Android. So if anybody who's like playing on iOS, they probably wouldn't be able to play it.
That makes sense. If it was in demand, hopefully enough people who didn't get to play it will want to try it, and maybe that creates enough demand to get it going. But yeah, fingers crossed.
Alrighty. So what would you guys miss most about the game?
Definitely access to everything I'd collected. It really did feel like you were owning this digital merch, but in the end, it was always just data on a server. Another thing I'll miss, though, is that feeling like I'd found the strongest KeshiKeshi in the game, only to acquire something else later that tops it. And strategizing which KeshiKeshi team builds would offer the most advantages for attack bonuses and healing was also fun.
For me, I honestly felt like the game was really just starting to ramping things up with like the Pixel Dragon Quest Anniversary stuff we got, the original content, like even like the VTuber content. It was all like kind of fresh and what I thought the game kind of needed, because like they were going through all the mainline Dragon Quest games, and they did Die and Treasures and stuff that we've already like seen. So like once they started branching into new stuff because they kind of had to, that's when I felt like things were really starting to pick up.
Yeah, it was interesting. They did start to branch out, and they did a Nier Automata event, and then they did that. What was that VTuber?
HoloLive, I think.
Yeah, HoloLive. That's right.
It's
they just started bringing out
the lady from Treasures, Pecora.
Yes,
I think her name.
Yeah, Pecora. Yeah, they started doing non-Dragon Quest content in the game, and I was thinking, I was like, oh wow, so I guess they're expanding the possibility for what this game could be. And,
yeah, because like they pretty much exhausted all the content they really could.
Yeah,
it's like they're not going to give us a Caravan Heart event anytime soon.
Right. Yeah, but I mean, in some of the other mobile games, like I'm sure they probably did this in Tact, but in Monster Super Light, they would repeat events every now and again, just in case you've missed an event or you missed getting something, and you have.
That's something I plan on touching on later, so put a pin in that.
Okay.
Yeah, it kind of expands on the whole like original events and stuff. I really liked how we were getting alternate designs of like characters that we had already seen. Like we had the event with like the Killing Machines and Terry, which is kind of perfect for me because that's right up my alley, because Killing Machine's my favorite monster and then Terry's my favorite character. So it's like we got this cool little like fusion of that And it also created hope that maybe Square Enix in general and Dragon Quest would have a working relationship with a lot of other things. I think it would be cool to see like Monster Hunter monsters inside of Dragon Quest Tact. Obviously, this is a KeshiKeshi podcast. But this is kind of like opening the door, like Jay was saying. We had a lot of different like collabs that we hadn't seen already in other Dragon Quest related content. Besides like Final Fantasy, which we saw like the Final Fantasy crossover for Brave Exvius, Final Fantasy 14, and then Tact and Dragon Quest 10, which was really cool. So it showed that like there's a lot of expansion that could be happening here, and it gave us a little bit of like a side story for what Dragon Quest can offer outside of the long waits in between main series games.
Definitely.
If it means anything, Dragon Quest and Monster Hunter actually do have a pretty good relationship. They have crossover with Stars and one other one. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, I'd seen the one with Stars, and I was like, oh, this would be really cool. It's like Monster Hunter right now seems to be collabing with everybody. It did the collab with Zoids, it did collab with Puzzles and Dragons, it did collab with a bunch of other things as well. I was like, oh man, this would be really cool to get like this in like other Dragon Quest games, because the monster aesthetic for like Monster Hunter fits Dragon Quest so well. It's like hand in glove. It works really, really well together.
Nice. So what are some of your favorite KeshiKeshi that you've collected and why?
For me, you want to go first?
Go, it's fine.
Okay. So for me, it was a Fencing Fox from the Dragon Quest VIII event that we got not too long ago. It's already one of my favorite monsters. You don't see it too often. He was free, and he was also actually pretty good.
Nice. Joe, how about you?
Rocket Slime.
Rocket Slime?
Yeah, it was like one of the early events that they had done with the Rocket Slime, and like I just love that like when you did like his super attack, it would just like be him, and he would just stretch out. It always provided a really good laugh for me.
Yeah, the animations were great with that, and the Rocket Slime early on that offered a pretty large attack range, which was really good.
Yeah, he was great, and I had a lot of fun with like recording like the attack animations and like the combined attack animations for like the monsters, and like Rocket Slime would always make me laugh. It never failed.
That's a good call. Yeah, I should go back and do some screen recordings of some of these 5-piece combos.
Yeah, I definitely really like I was saying, a lot of like the later stuff we started getting was like, it feels like they were just like amping up what they wanted to do, because they like pretty much covered everything they had to.
Yeah. We started getting costume variants. I've got a Yangus in the fur poncho, and some of the other things like the unique Terry, when they did the original content for Terry. He's got a different costume on as well.
Yeah, it's like Mina got a similar one in like a really nice white dress.
Yeah. Terry's is like a full-on blue outfit with like cape and a hood. Yeah, I need to go back and see what Hiru wrote, because I think he translated a lot of that stuff so you could figure out what was going on. So I need to go back and look at some of that original content, because after this game's gone, then that's lost. You know, that's people who were not able to play this game won't have access to that, to see that, unless someone does something with the files that were downloaded. So I actually got a unique green matcha ice cream slime from the Baskin Robbins promotion. Just a shout out to my wife's cousin Chiho, who went out of her way to buy this expensive Baskin Robbins promotional Dragon Quest birthday cake that was required to get the code that redeemed for this one. I know she's not likely to listen to this, and if she did, I don't know if she would understand it, but I just wanted to honor her anyway and say thank you to Chiho. And additionally, I really like the KeshiKeshi where the 5-piece combo attacks like 3 times. They started doing that towards the end with some of the rank 6s, like the kids from chapter 1 of Dragon Quest V, the hero and Bianca. 2-in-1 KeshiKeshi, where you just 5-piece combo them and it just explodes everything, then explodes everything again, and then finally just explodes whatever's left on the screen. I love that kind of stuff.
What were some of your favorite event memories? And I gotta point out, this is a really great question from Hiru.
Yeah.
Okay, so we make jokes about the dreaded pencil game a lot, which is like this mini game that they would roll every time again. It's like basically you get like invaded by this boss and you had to play, like you had like this 6-sided pencil that you had like stop at a certain spot to like do attacks. And
twirling pencil.
The whole point of it was to get together with your friends, because it was literally impossible by yourself. At least it was for a really long time, until they changed it so that you could refill your own stamina with
money,
not paid gold.
Yeah.
And it was like, honestly, the most fun I had was coming together with you guys to try and take down stuff that I would have no chance of doing it by myself.
Yeah, there was a Malroth that I couldn't get because it was before all that upgrade happened, and it was basically like, you need to pay money to get this or you're SOL. Some of my favorite event memories, I guess the pixel versions of the Roto trilogy. where they use the original sound effects so that when like the event Keshi attack, they take damage. It sounds like the Famicom NES games. And then the fact that they took like Dragon Quest 4 and 6 and made new stories with them, giving them unique sets of armor. I loved that original content element. And believe those are preserved in Heroes Guides, but like I mentioned, those would be lost when the game sunsets.
Yeah, it's a shame that a lot of stuff is going to be just gone when it sunsets. I think overall, my favorite event were kind of just like the giant raid bosses. I remember like doing like the Dragon Quest 10 one and fighting like Maldragora and just really sitting there and farming and trying to get him to unlock, and then like really having this sense of accomplishment once I actually did get him to unlock, because it was right after I came back to the game after my account got deleted the first time.
Mm-hmm.
So I love like the big raid boss events that like added a lot of replay availability, and just like really they gave you a lot of different like quest objectives. Be like, oh, use this monster and get this many points to start, and use this combo. It was cool to just like go through and like, one, the game was in Japanese, which I don't understand, so it was like trying to just like use these trial and error types of situations to like figure out these puzzles and just like conquer this boss and ultimately unlock them.
Yeah, a lot of it had to do with the color coding combinations of the element that you used: red, green, blue, yellow, which kind of looks orange to me, and purple. I don't even think when we were first starting off, we didn't know anything about that until Hiro explained it to us and showed us the chart for like, these are the attack bonuses and everything. And then there's also attack bonuses depending on if the Keshi does breath damage or physical attack or magic attack and everything. And none of that's
that's like another bonus on top of that is like, oh, if you have this many blue units all on a team, you get a 20% boost.
Yeah, and then in the pencil game, there was stuff that Hiro was doing that I had no idea beforehand, which was like you could have them, if you miss the attack on purpose, you can choose one of the other pencil game options, which would either cast maybe oomph or sap. And if you combo that for the first three guys, then the last two guys to go will have that advantage.
I tried doing that once, and I never really had much luck with it.
I had luck with it only once, and then I got Orgo Demir as a result of that, but it never really worked well. Again, I'm not sure. Again, there's probably subtle nuances I didn't understand.
Are there any characters you wish you could have collected but didn't have the luck to get?
I was trying to get all of the legacy bosses. I think I failed to get Malroth, but I got most of all the other ones. It's just that particular event was early on before the upgrades where you could pay for your own stamina refills.
For me, it's definitely the twin dragons from Dragon Quest 9. I didn't get a chance to get Barbarous or Grainarl, which kind of sucks because like I love the way that their art works with the like little KeshiKeshi designs. Somehow looked like adorable and also really imposing at the same time, and I missed both of them, which stinks. I love those dragons. Dragon Quest 9 is one of my favorite games, and like again, they somehow fit so perfectly into the KeshiKeshi design.
Yeah.
For me, it was Ultimate Dragon. Really, any 6-star was kind of hard to get, but that one was one I particularly wanted, just because I like the design. I remember that there was a pity system for the gacha characters, but it was just so ludicrous to actually like feasibly get anything from that.
Yeah.
It really just wasn't really worth it.
Because you had to spend real money to get the pity points, right? Or how did that work?
I don't recall. I didn't spend much real money on this game.
Yeah, I think you had to spend coins in the gacha, but you couldn't rack up enough without spending real money, or you could rack it up slowly over time, but it would take a really long time for you to use it. And then by the time they would sunset some of those pity characters, so you couldn't get them again. They were real generous recently, though. in the ramp up to the end of the game, they started giving us everything. You notice that?
Yeah,
I've got like
Rivals did something similar. Once they were starting to close, they're like, oh, here's 10 free pulls on every banner. Go crazy.
Yeah, I'm looking at my game now. I've got 592 plus stamina and 446,000 gold.
I also have over 500 stamina, but I have no gold because I spent it all already.
Oh yeah, I need to before we only have a couple of days left for me to spend this, but I was going to do a recording of me doing all these gacha pulls for, again, Keshi that I'm not going to be able to use anymore. So what's the point? But yeah, it was funny to see how generous they were suddenly, or if it was just maybe like the devs saying we're sorry.
Oh yeah, I do kind of wish that like towards like the ramp up of the closing, they just made every Keshi kind of available.
Yeah,
so you had a chance to play with them.
Yeah.
Even during like the last like 2 weeks, like, oh, I want to put together this team and see how this monster works.
Yeah. Even like the promotional stuff, give that to everybody. The game's ending anyway. But yeah, they one of the things they were super generous about is they cut the cost of upgrading your max level to. They cut it down 90. It was 90% off.
Should have just been free.
Yeah, exactly. But so like stuff that would cost, you know, like 1,000 gold would only be 100. But yeah, that then, you know, you wish they were doing that the whole length of the game, or you know, occasionally they just do a month where it's like here's a bunch of crazy bonuses that probably would have driven a lot more audience to it. So what's something you wish that they could have built into the game had it gone on longer?
One thing I wish that they would have built into the game had it gone longer. It's really hard to think about this because like when you're playing the game, you're kind of just like, oh, this is what it offers. And I think we touched on like different collabs and original content. One thing I wish they would have built into the game though was a different form of currency that wasn't just gold or paid gold. Because you got like this bottleneck of like my currency is gold. It does everything. So I have to make this decision whether or not I want to pay on the tumblr, upgrade my monsters levels, alchemize, and it becomes a little bit too like reliant on this one resource that's kind of limited. So maybe introduce something that like allowed you to upgrade a monster's levels that didn't require you to pay 1,400 gold, which is half of a tumble pool.
Yeah, but they did have the blue card system, the blue card member card points. That was another way that you could buy stuff, but again, that racks up slowly as well.
The thing I was going to say is something you guys both touched on, a way to get old event units, similar to how Dragon Quest Tact does their reminiscence stuff. Basically, after an event has been gone for X amount of time, they would add it to permanent content.
Mm-hmm.
So that way you could go back to it, get any of the goodies that you couldn't back then or just weren't around for.
Yeah, it would be ideal if they do something fan run with the content that that we were able to download. Even just playing through the regular game without the events, or just rotating the events somehow so that they're one a month. But yeah,
it could even be something as simple as just like, hey, this is a new unit coming out. Here is a sample dungeon of a pre-made team using that unit and showcasing the units in that collab. And you can run the dungeon to see if the monster is even something that you would love to go after, feel like you should go after, or just pass it in general.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm thinking of like the DQVC from Dragon Quest IX. If somebody creates the fan run server, and somebody actually did do that, but in theory, if that works as it's intended, that DQVC will continue to rotate as you access it. So it will be something like that, just setting, you know, the events up on an automated level so that they just turn on without, you know, anybody having to do anything. I think a data export of all your collected KeshiKeshi would be pretty interesting, just to have everything that you collected so that you could physically say, like, I've got the data for this. I wish that they would have done something with the max level cap for rank 6, and that it didn't just match rank 5. Because I know rank 6 came out way later, but it had the same max as max level 70. I don't know why they didn't go up to 80 for that, because
I really wasn't too bothered by that because I already kind of felt that the rank 6 stuff was kind of pushing some things simply because of how hard they were to get.
Yeah, but if you're fighting rank level like 99 in some of these bosses, you know, for the event bosses, I think it just made sense to get you a little bit closer to being able to compete with that. Some of that stuff was just ridiculously impossible.
Yeah,
unless
I'm not sure how you're supposed to do some of those.
Yeah,
like,
probably
even like the ones they started doing on like the Goodbye tour, like the Demon Lords and stuff. I'm like, I could beat stage 2.
Yeah, they still didn't make that easier. They still had that, you know, screw you level of difficulty.
Yeah, it doesn't help too that like during the rundown, it was like during the event, the monsters that are part of that event are usually a lot stronger, and then they kind of get like weaned off once the event is over. So like during this rundown, those monsters didn't have those enhancements they did during the event, so that definitely made it a little bit harder.
Yeah. All right. So Hiru wrote some of the responses because he couldn't be here today. We gave him all of the questions, and we're going to read off of his responses so that he can be part of this podcast, even though he couldn't be here with us today. So what were your thoughts on the game sunsetting? Hiru said, much like offline, single-player experiences have to come to an end at some point, excluding factors like replayability, of course. I tend to look at mobile games the same way and try to enjoy them for what they are, as much as I can before the inevitable end of the service announcement. No ill feelings on my part once that happens. KeshiKeshi was no different, and though the game has lasted perhaps less than I would like it to, I had lots of fun with it and cherish many of the memories I made thanks to it.
We asked Hiru, where were you in life when you started playing 2.5 years ago? And he replied, I believe that I had just started translating the Dragon Quest XI voice drama episodes. Feels like an eternity ago. I actually didn't start playing the game on release and missed a couple months of content, give or take. What's more, I originally had no desire to play the game at all. The story goes like this. One day, a friend of mine tells me about an ongoing Dragon Quest XI event. I see Serena is among the summonable characters, and I go like, Okay, I'll download it and try it out. If using just the free summons cause her to show up, good, I'll keep playing. If not, I'll uninstall. And well, considering I ended up writing weekly guides for the game shortly after, you kind of guess how that went.
What would you miss most about the game? And he responded, the multiplayer experience for sure. That was my first time experiencing something like that. And I love the idea of being able to help other players and coordinate efforts to defeat a difficult boss. I wonder where we talked about that. Something, the whole gimmick of Battle Keshi was based on also collecting unique versions of characters, not to mention the amount of representation from spin-offs like Dai, Emblem of Roto, and Monster Series, and even wackier stuff like Hololive. Yeah, this was actually my first time like seeing anything from Emblem of Roto. So it was like, that was like completely new to me, stuff I'd never even heard of before.
Yeah. Stuff that was specifically for Japanese audiences, but it was great to see because we love the franchise so much that we eat all of that stuff up when it's available. All right, so Hiro, we asked, what are some of your favorite KeshiKeshi that you've collected and why? So he wrote, Serena is a no-brainer pick here, thinking back to the circumstances that ultimately led me to play the game. All versions of Serena, for that matter, my absolute favorite being Sage Serena, and her ability to lower the enemy's defense, a debuff effect that was extremely rare at the time of her release. Druid Maribel and one of the Dragon Quest VII events is one of the favorites, and it's a character I appreciate a lot, plus my favorite vocation in the series, all built into one package. Honorable mention to the anniversary 2D pixel art from the erasers from Dragon Quest 1 through 3 trilogy. I love the concept and its in its implementation. Among them, I'd say my absolute favorite has to be Erdrick's sword, good old Erdrick himself, and Luida.
What were some of your favorite event memories? Both of the anniversary events I really enjoyed, and I remember the Dragon Quest VII events being particularly fun to play because they included a little bit of alchemy work to restore unique stage tablets. Also, every iteration of Battle Keshi post changes, which made challenges farmable, with in-game gold resulting in a much more appealing experience for players. Last but not least, the New Year's event and their gimmick of drawing fortune tickets took all kinds of rewards. Not only I like the erasers associated with them, Alana and Jade, to name a few, that were both interesting and super strong. But they were also very generous to me, and I felt different enough to appreciate what was going on.
Are there any characters you wish you could have collected but didn't have the luck to get? And Hugh said, as for characters that were featured in the game, there was a 6-star version of Ashlyn from Dragon Quest VI I was never able to get, and I thought it was a shame since she was both cool looking and among the strongest ever released. I'm also super sad we never got a Rubis eraser, much like we never got a Rubis card for Rivals before that game reached its end of service. It's almost like a curse. I guess the HD 2D remake will finally satiate me in that sense. I actually have two little things I could point out on this is that I actually wanted to talk about that Ashlyn eraser because that was kind of my ticket to doing a lot of the super hard content. She had Magic Burst. You can only use her 5-piece attack once, but it was so incredibly powerful. It was regularly doing like 6-digit numbers. And
was she ranked 6?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. I felt like I got her, but I don't think I actually did. I think we talked about it so much.
It was like the princess outfit.
Yeah, I don't think I did get her.
Yeah, and like on the topic of Rubis, we at least got her in Super Light before that game shut down. She was the last unit they added.
Oh, wow. So what's something you wish they could have built into the game had it gone on longer? And Hiro said, we started getting original scenarios events way too late, which is something I would have loved to see them tackle sooner. There was also a complete lack of crossover events, and it dawned on me I'd very much like mobile titles to operate without fear and go crazy with interactions we wouldn't normally get to see. Stuff like have the mainline series and Dai crossover events, where Pop comments on how the Luminary and Veronica can somehow cast Medora if they work together, or maybe introduce challenges that require the player or players, if tackled in multiplayer fashion, to assemble teams specialized in one specific skill, like Frizz dedicated team, to bring down an enemy boss weak to fire. All right, well, thank you, Hiro, for all of your contributions to translating this game for us, and all the work that you did in your documents, but also helping us through these events on the Discord server. Much appreciated, and I definitely can say we would not have enjoyed this game as much if you had not done that. So thank you so much.
Yeah, I can't say enough for what Hiro did for this game. This game probably went on in terms of community another year because of Hiro. He definitely was, the golden child and the golden star to this game. Really took to like a duck like water and just provided so much information and intel for players throughout the entire Dragon's Den as well as just the entire fan base. So thank you again, Hero. You're a hero.
That's it for this episode of Slime Time. We want to thank the Big Shark Gaming brothers, Joe and Jay, for joining the party today.
Hey, no problem. Pleasure being here.
Yeah,
And-
it's nice to have both of us in the same room for once.
That's right. This is the first time you've both been on the same Slime Time recording together. I can't believe that hasn't happened yet.
We've done collectively like 10 to 12 slime times, and this is the first time we've ever done one together.
Are you guys in the same room, or are you in separate houses right now?
Separate houses.
There was a door between us.
He's in his kitchen. I'm in my gaming room, which is a total of 15 feet away, and I can actually hear him.
That's
No,
too
you
funny
can't.
because you could have recorded in the same room.
I did try and say that. He ignored my prompt, so...
All right. Well, special thanks to our listeners out there, whether you're here to learn about KeshiKeshi or you're our regular listeners or both. We hope you like what you hear and stick around for more episodes.
And we're a nonprofit podcast. We won't half-inch your hard-earned gold when we can offer you quality content for free. But if you do have some extra cash lying around and you wanted to donate something to the website that's been supporting Dragon Quest fans for over 25 years, drop by Dragon's Den by clicking the link in the show notes. There are several ways to support the Den, including the affiliate links, and don't cost you anything extra when making other Dragon Quest purchases.
We also have a Slime Time t-shirt that was designed by our recurring host and resident artist, Dwayne. You can find the link for that in the show notes as well.
Special thanks to Amanda Lepre and the Descendants of Erdrick for the music you hear in the opening and closing of this show.
And for comments or questions, you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at DQ Slimetime.
Join in tons of Dragon Quest discussion at the Dragon's Den forums or our Discord, the Dragon Questers and Slime Time Facebook groups.
Please like, subscribe, and write a review for the podcast. It really helps us to promote and grow the show. Dragon Quest Slime Time, sliming off.